All right, let's get right into it. We're tackling one of the biggest questions ever. Who are you really? Are you some kind of timeless soul just borrowing a body for a while? Or is this whole idea of a permanent you nothing more than a grand illusion? Today, we're going to explore two powerful and totally different answers to that very question.
It all really boils down to this one simple question. When the body gives out, what happens to you? To your consciousness, your memories, the very essence of who you are? People have been wrestling with this for, forever. And the answers they've come up with have literally shaped the world we live in.
So, first up, let's jump back in time. We're heading to the 11th century, to the world of the Persian philosopher Nasir Khosrow. He laid out this incredibly powerful case for an immortal self, a soul, that he believed lasts long after the body is gone.
Okay, so the core of his philosophy is this really clear split. He says, look, we're not just one thing. We're more like a partnership, a team-up between two totally different parts, the physical body and the spiritual soul.
And the way Khosrow talks about our lives is pretty fascinating. He basically argues that any happiness or sadness that's tied to our physical bodies, how we look, how healthy we are, the stuff we own, that's all temporary. It just fades away with the body. But he says the state of our soul, whether it's pure or not, that determines a kind of happiness or misery that's meant to be permanent. So here's the key to his whole argument. It's all about contrast. The body, what he calls the jasad, is dense, it's physical, and we all know it's going to decay. But the soul, or the nafs, is totally different. It's this subtle essence. It's the very spark that brings the body to life. And because it's the complete opposite of the mortal body, his logic follows that the soul has to be immortal. It's just its nature.
And this idea right here, it perfectly captures the ultimate goal of life in his view. Life becomes this journey of purification. It's not enough to just believe you have a soul. The real point is to cleanse it, to make it better through good deeds. That way, when death comes, the soul is ready to answer that call and return to where it came from, for a reward that lasts forever.
I mean, that's a pretty powerful idea, right? And kind of comforting. This eternal part of you that can be saved. But now, let's do a complete 180. We're going to look at a philosophy that flips this whole thing on its head. What if the very thing we're trying so hard to save doesn't actually exist at all?
And for that, we turn to Buddhism. It's pretty unique in the history of ideas because it radically denies that there's any kind of permanent soul or self. And look, this isn't just some small disagreement. It's a direct challenge to what might be our most basic assumption about who we are.
The key concept here is called anatta. It's this core teaching that if you really, truly look deep inside yourself, past all the thoughts, the feelings, the body itself, you won't find some stable, unchanging you at the center of it all. There's no ghost in the machine, no little person driving the bus.
And believe me, the stakes here are massive. From the Buddhist point of view, this belief in a separate, permanent self isn't just a simple mistake. No, they say it's the root cause of all our problems, our clinging, our anger, our pride, our ego. It's seen as the engine that drives all suffering, from a tiny argument to a full-blown war.
So, this leads to the big question, right? If there's no soul, no permanent self, then what are we? Are we just nothing? Well, no, not quite. It's a bit more complicated than that.
So, Buddhism breaks down what we think of as me into 5 constantly shifting parts or aggregates. What we call a self is really just these 5 things working together. First, you've got form. That's easy. It's your body. Then there's feeling. Pleasant, unpleasant, neutral sensations. After that is perception. That's your mind recognizing stuff like, oh, that's a tree. Fourth is volitional formations. This is a bit tricky, but think of it as your habits, your impulses, your intentions. And finally, number 5 is consciousness, just that raw stream of awareness. So you're not a static thing, you're more like a flowing process, a verb, not a noun. Pretty cool, huh?
And what's so wild is that this isn't just some ancient debate between a guy in Persia and a sage in India. Nope. This exact same question about the self just keeps popping up all over the world throughout history.
I mean, this question has kicked off one of the greatest debates in human history. You've got Team Soul, right? Nasir Khosrow and his nafs line up perfectly with Plato in ancient Greece and his immortal soul. And of course, there's René Descartes in France with his famous I think, therefore I am. But then you have Team No Self, and it's just as strong. The Buddha's idea of anatta finds this amazing echo centuries later in Scotland, with David Hume saying the self is just a bundle of perceptions. And now, fast forward to today, and you've got modern neuroscience scanning our brains, looking for that one spot that's in charge, and they just can't find it. Hey everyone, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear what you think. Your support really means a lot and helps me keep creating content for you all. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Okay, so we've got these two huge competing ideas about what we are. But here's the thing. These aren't just abstract theories for philosophy class. They're actual roadmaps for how to live your life. They're two completely different strategies for finding, well, liberation.
Let's just break that down for a second. The path of the soul, the one someone like Khosrow would champion, it's all about purifying this eternal thing inside you. And the goal? It's all about a future reward, eternal bliss in paradise. But the path of no self, the Buddhist path, is totally different. The focus there is on taking apart an illusion, a false idea. And the goal isn't in the future, it's right here, right now. It's about ending suffering in this life. That's nirvana.
And that really brings us to the core choice, doesn't it? Is the whole point of life to save and polish this precious diamond, your eternal soul? Or is the point to realize that the idea you're a separate, solid self was just a dream all along?
So, that leaves us with one last thing for you to think about. In just the time you've been watching this, your body has changed. Your feelings have probably shifted. Countless thoughts have raced through your mind. So, are you really the same you who started this explainer? What part of you exactly has stayed the same? The answer to that? Well, it might just be the answer to everything.